I began exploring ways I could use it in my delivery, and found that, especially for my Year 6 writing lessons, the PowerPoint was brilliant. When we found out that children were returning, I began to think about that I didn't want this to end with PowerPoint, because I was really enjoying using it and I found it really useful. I thought about that. I was making sure I wasn't removing anything that worked well, instead enhancing what I was already doing. So I'm going to share with you a few things that I think work well and have started to use in the classroom since returning, and hopefully you might get something from it too. So, instant feedback. PowerPoint can be set up so that every child in your class has their own slide. This enables the teacher to have a whole class overview, so you can see all 30 children working on the PowerPoint at the same time, and you just flick between. You can instantly clarify any misconceptions, and the children can use each other's work. Remote teaching, I was online for 20 minutes afterwards, and then in the moment clarifying misconceptions. But moving forward in the classroom, short burst writes, lots of children writing it all on their own slide, mini lesson stops, mini plenaries, let's share, let's magpie ideas, let's steal with pride. And then we also thought about homework. Our classrooms are rich writing environments. There's vocab, there's working walls. When we set writing homework tasks, sometimes we find it's quite a lonely experience for the children, and sometimes they struggle to produce what they would in a classroom environment. We've thought about using this as part of a shared writing area, so that when the children are completing their home writing tasks, it feels supported, they can steal each other's ideas, and they can really scaffold each other. So instant feedback. And then moving on to collaborative learning. We can also have single slides that lots of children work on all at the same time. We learned from lockdown that children can be and are a lot more dependent than we perhaps gave them credit for. They've followed timetables, they've met assignment deadlines, and they've been really intrinsically motivated to sign on every day and engage in remote teaching and learning. And that's something we definitely want to keep going. From children working collaboratively on one PowerPoint, they are providing models for each other. For example, you can see in the bottom of the screen, the children were working on a reading activity where the children were asked to pore over a front cover. They were asked to write questions and statements that came to them about this book. One child punctuating a question correctly could be the slight reminder another child needed just to remember to put their question mark after their question. It also could spark another idea. So a child may have an idea that sparks someone to take it that next step further. This does go hand in hand with talk partners, discussions, and doesn't remove from adult teacher modelling, but it's just a nice twist rather than always having maybe the teacher scribe for the children. It's just a different way to maybe do the lesson every now and again. And then moving on to utilising time. I know in the school day, we try and squeeze so much in, and time is so important. And I do think using PowerPoint is a really good way of, at times, making sure we're utilising time and removing jobs that can at times take away from the learning at hand. So PowerPoints can be set up with quick review tasks, so that the children have a slide each and they are quickly reviewing their learning at pace, and activities such as timelines, and that can be differentiated, where some children may be sorting and sequencing the events, or some people may be inputting into a timeline template. But just thinking about not always taking away from the fine motor skills, but sometimes maybe when you've asked children to cut and then organise times into a sequence, would it be quicker? Would it be more efficient for them to spend the time really honing in on the sequencing rather than cutting out the events? And then finally, another way that I really think PowerPoint can be used is for scaffolding learning. We can use audio buttons added into PowerPoint to scaffold learning. They can be used to repeat instructions to help children process a task and enable them to complete a task independently. On the screen, you'll hear a clip of me with a phonics activity, where the children were asked to listen to the words and sort them into the correct phoneme column. The audio buttons would allow the children to complete the task independently. So this could be a remote learning task, or if a child within a cohort needed a real personalised lesson, it would create that independence for them to crack on their own.